Greetings, mortals. I am Natus, one of the rulers of Hell, or specifically the ruler of Manga Hell. And today I've decided to start a new series on the channel called Inmates of Hell, which in this series we'll be going through a lot of villains that appeared in manga and have fallen, or might still be around, but we'll be discussing them because they're fun characters. And with the start of this series, I've decided to also honor in the 1 year anniversary that the Four Knights of the Apocalypse had, I believe, last week, with a villain from the Seven Deadly Sins world. So, after going through all the villains that we had in the Seven Deadly Sins, I decided that we should discuss about my favorite villain, because I would say she's the one who actually fits this, and that's of course Melascula. Now, some of you might be asking is why didn't I choose the Demon King, Chandler, or Cusack, Zeldris, Astarosa? Well, the thing is, I wanna wait on some of those, and I'll be honest, I'm not really the biggest fan of them. No, and while Melasca, in my opinion, is the best. So, with that said, let's get into this discussion on Melasca. Now, the way I was planning on starting this off is with going through the overview, then a bit of the fighting and power leveling, then going into designs, and then just my general thoughts. So, let's start simple with the story. Now, Velasco actually started her life as an acid snake, like a normal snake. Although I do have a few questions about her intelligence later on, but we'll go into that on my personal thoughts. So, Nia says she was an acid snake who managed to get to a vat of venomous or mucuses or some kind of weird toxin that's only in demon world. Through that toxin, she managed to get a lot of magic and become, well, one thing, her normal acid form became a giant hooded snake, or more like a cobra in my opinion, but I think it's said to be a hooded snake, as well as a lot of magical power, which with that power she managed to become one of the Ten Commandments and being bestowed the commandment of faith by the Demon King. And I'm guessing that somewhere during getting the commandment, the demon she also got extremely loyal to to the demon king for some reason. I don't know. It's not really explained. Which again we're getting into my full thoughts. So then after that, sometime during it, she was fighting alongside the commandments, and sometime after Melera was betrayed, the Ten Commandments, which also infuriated her and made her view offer admiration towards Meliodas in a more disgusting way. Somewhere in the end, somewhere between that, there was a war, kind of a battle. It's not really a final battle, it's more like just one of the encounters that the Ten Commandments have with the angels. And in that encounter, the angels were using the demons, mostly civilian demons, meant as like bait to lure out the Ten Commandments, not to kill them all. Unfortunately, as much as they did wipe out the low-ranking demons, it turns out that defeating some of the highest-ranking demons, or in the demon world, in the demon clan, the Ten Commandments, as well as Fadran, who may or may not be considered a Ten Commandment. It's a weird thing with him. Or really difficult to defeat or hard to defeat, even though for some reason Galant, although in Mel's case she was saved by Galant when they were attacking them. But during that conflict, she went away, like sneaked out while the rest of them were fighting them, to the main facility where their main base, Stigma's main base was, where she was supposed to open the gates from heaven to hell so she could bring out more of their forces. Now, doing this, she actually has a little conversation with Nero Basta, who is currently being brain controlled by Gopher. But in the shortest way, Gopher also uses his mind magic to work on, well, his memory magic, I believe, was whatever. He uses his powers on Melascula to have her, instead of opening the gate to hell specifically so they could get their forces, it was to gate to the dungeons. So the original Gopher could escape, which filled her with hatred because you're not supposed to leave the dungeon unless if the Demon King gives you an order to or allows you to. Which sometime after that, that betrayal where she also gets immobilized by Gopher, so he's able to leave without any issues from her. She and that and gets free. She regroups towards Zeldris, and I'm guessing that recently joined Jewel and Galaxemia from the betrayal from the humans. Then afterwards, this is actually I don't think ever explained, but afterwards a lot of the Ten Commandments get captured, or the rest of the Ten Commandments gets captured, since I believe Jewel and since I believe Derriere and Moonspy were already captured, but the rest at some point also get captured. That's not really explained in full detail ever. I mean, we get flashbacks to the Holy War. It's not like in Bleach where we don't get anything. Like, we get them, but we never actually explore it. But yeah, anyways, after that, to that capture, they get freed from the seal by Hendrickson and Farjan, who is controlling Dreyfus's body. After, after they're free, they go into a place where they are supposed to be restocking their energies to become their full power. She doesn't do much until Melio. There she just has a few conversations with Zeldris, but afterwards she also uses her powers to like create an army of the dead or to manipulate the souls of the dead, so people can be so they can collect people's souls and to have them eyes being set ablaze because of her commandment, which does make me wonder on what the range on her commandment is though. But yeah, she also summons a few demons to collect the souls, but that's nothing really. We're going to the power level. After that, then at some point after that, when after the training for the sins and everyone else, but Medeiros appears and threatens the commandments. And after he beats Gallant and he gets teleported away, Zeldris says, "We are speeding up our recovery process to the full power," and Melascula teams up with Gallant to handle it. Then, during their rampage, Melascula senses that something's wrong with one of her undead soldiers, aka Elaine. So Melascula and Gallant go in there to check what the hell is going on. There they encounter Bond, where don't really take it seriously, but they don't get seriously from the start, but they regret it soon. Well, Gallant does, namely. So after Bond uses his abilities to like mess with Gallant a bit or beat him up a bit, Melascula intervenes and goes into a battle where she where she basically almost kills Bond. Well, I don't know if kills the right word. Needless to say is she sends Bond's soul out, and she was about to eat it, but then Gallant's intervention, the adopted father, I believe, of Bond intervention, and needless to say, she's not able to eat it, and Bond is able to escape, as well as killing one of their each of their hearts. Where, thanks to Jericho's sacrifice and the fact that for some reason both Gallant and Melascula are taking this more as a joke, or they're playing golf pretty much, they are able. Bond and his group are able to get to Askino's bar. They're able to Gallant and Muscatby are able to track them to their location, and they get completely and utterly drunk. Muscat tries to resist a bit, but then she comes to her desires and she starts getting drunk as well. Then then Gallant challenges Eskimo to a Gallant game, which at that point was nighttime, so Eskimo was in his weak form, so they completely ignore it and pretty much spend the rest of the night drinking because Eskimo hasn't risen up at all for him to punch Galan back, which was very funny because uh, Galan was like, "I just slapped them," which is just kind of a little joke. Then when Eskimo comes back up and starts to speaking so pridefully, Eskimo doesn't really take care of it seriously until she sees Galan was caught completely by Eskimo's one hit, which is a bit surprised, but it doesn't really matter since the regeneration and the multiple hearts thing. Then when Gallant says for some reason that Melascula has to go back a bit because he's gonna go in his overcharge again, power leveling. We're gonna get into it later. Anyway, overcharge, but it's nothing to Askino, and Agant is turned to stone, and Askino because he couldn't keep the truth when he came against Askino. Then Melascula, she has a bit of a better strategy on fighting Askino, even though Askino said you can leave as long as he's Severus. But she doesn't take it. So she tries to do the same thing she did to Bond, but unfortunately, Eskimo's soul is so powerful that, well, because of the angel ability, that she cannot kill him with it. She just gets burned, and falls off the cliff to be broken in half. Get used to this. That's pretty much going to be a thing with Melascula from now on. And she basically she is able to put herself together. I'm not sure if that's ever explained on how she's able to heal, because we never see anything else happening. In fact, it's literally even actively said it can be a thing. But anyways, she gets put back together and goes to Zal just to, I guess, explain what happened. Then she doesn't appear until Jewel and Gosima call for the rest of the Ten Commandments, and we have a Ten Commandments versus Malleolius. Bonnie Melascula for some reason doesn't actually do anything during that fight. She just kind of stands there off to the side for some reason. Then it's not until Leos is practically defeated and is basically at their mercy is where Melascula's like, "Hey, Glycemia, heal me," because she was burnt to a crisp. And after that, she's basically saying, "Let me kill him." And she goes there for the killing blow, but unfortunately, Ban is teleported there, and he's able to snap her neck and destroys, I believe, I think there are, well, 8 hearts in a devil, and he destroys 6 of them. Now, there's some of the confusion in the dial in the Wikia about if he intended to like only kill most of them, but spared one because of Elaine, or if he just missed one. Especially considering what happens, well, in this volume, funny enough. So yeah, he snaps her neck, and she just kind of lays there. No one really like. It's not really brought up that much by the rest of the commandments, except for Astrosa, who says, "If you hadn't done it, I would have done it myself," pretty much. But yeah, after that, she kind of disappears for a while. I think it's a month, honestly. She disappears for a month until it's revealed in this volume that she's actually in. I think in one of the buildings before you reach Camelot, where she is kind of like in charge of making it so you can't enter Camelot, so so the demon clan could like go in sizes, because I think the main summoners are Greywood and Melascula, but Greywood's gone, and I guess Melascula needs time. But I think there's a third way they could get the demons out. But yeah. So it's not really. So I'm guessing what happened there between the time is that maybe once Melascula healed herself, or however she's able to come back from everything, because after the damage that Bond did, her mouth is actually still damaged. Like it still is kind of. I think her jaw is broken. I think she's saying something on the lines. So I'm guessing after she partially healed herself, Zeldris ordered her to go to Camelot and make that barrier. Needless to say, that barrier is a problem if they want to invade Camelot and take Demon Clan down. Now, so they find. So when they go there, they see Zeldris, but in reality, it's just an illusion made by Melascula to trick Meliodas and to trap him. So then they have a little bit of a battle. It's pretty much like this showcase battle. I think there was a time skip or the training thing before this. So this is pretty much just showing them off. First, Melascula summons just an army of the undead that they are easily able to destroy. Then she summons an undead that's gets more powerful by Meliodas' rage, which I think, if I remember correctly in the images, Meliodas actually gets calmer once the thing gets destroyed. So I'm not sure if that has like anything to do with, like, I'm guessing Ascino Mela would have been able to destroy the skeleton. It's just that Mills was also creating calm, so you could say it's also weaker, and maybe it wasn't as powerful as it should have been, or maybe Milaska overestimated how angry Mills truly was. Each way, the monster gets destroyed, and then Elizabeth shows up. When Elizabeth shows up, the Milaskala makes the connection, which I guess is. I don't think actually Milaska did see Elizabeth beforehand, so it does kind of make this sense why she wouldn't put the dots together until now. But yeah, Milaska makes a connection, and she basically wants to like since she hates Meliodas for betraying the Demon Clan, the Demon King, she wants to go and fight and kill Elizabeth. Basically, she goes there herself. I guess she was in a cocoon as well, which does make sense in a sense. But I'm wondering why Meliodas didn't attack her beforehand when he was in there. I don't know. It's a weird thing. But as she reveals herself and goes into her true form, or in her like giant true form, where she I guess wants to for some reason fight physically. I mean, it's not really explained well. It's just kind of. I think it's just it to get her out of the way because at the end of the battle when she's defeated because she again like that's supposed to be her weaker form because no, she's just a bigger target now. Get now they're able to like get the upper hand like King and they are able to beat her, fight her. Oh, but I forgot to mention that she was using some spell to get control of Diane to like fight the rest of them, and that's cured by Gopher and I think Elizabeth as well. So yeah, after that they beat her a bit, and then Merlin says that if she fought us in a different way, you could have defeated us. I'm questioning if that is truly the true. Again, we're going to the post a bit later, but it is kind of question that's just Melanie being trying to being like bitch, or if she's like telling the truth here. Because that saying that Melascula could defeat the Seven Eight Sins, even if it's in this point, I don't think it was shown later, but like even this version raises a few flags. But yeah, they for some reason feel like they need to kill her. Maybe there's a self-destruct or something spell I'm forgetting, but I don't think there was. They just say we must kill her. But luckily for them, Elizabeth just uses some magic to like get rid of all the asset or all the thing that was consumed in Melascula, reducing her to a tiny little acid snake, which is kind of surprised. But I was like, this is Melascula in reality, and they kind of scared her away because she's just a snake. But I mean, just Melania just puts her bottle in and traps her in, and yeah. That's pretty much the end of Melascula for what she actually does in the story at that point, I think that we see her a few times, like just being in a bottle, being flown around by Merlin. It's not until Zeldris shows up and says, "I want Melascula," that we really see her in prominence. Well, prominence. But yeah, Merlin tries to make the bargain, but it's one of those things where, oh, I cannot promise you his safe offer safety because I have no idea who that is. Like there is some guy running around, but I can do more or it basically things that you can't really do. Or Elizabeth, she's with my brother. I can't do anything about her. So yeah, but luckily Merlin is able to get the humans in Camelot freed, but also is able to keep Melascula, which then she stays mostly on Merlin's person. It's not until they need her to enter a certain area about for turn Melios into a Demon King. At that point, again, she just kind of stays there until all the commandments are needed to become one, or all commands just get automatically fused because that's in the stage that Melios was when it came to his demon form transformation. With that point, the commandment just leaves Melascula's body and goes into Meliodas. Now, there's some confusion if she's alive or dead, which is true. Like it's never actually addressed if she's dead after that. Like you would think she was after all the chaos and destruction, but there was a bit of a gap, and it's not like we ever get a full addressing. Like if there's like a hole that Melissa could have gone into, or if like she managed to go in a direction that wasn't chaos. I mean, yeah, there were a few barriers there, so it's possible that she could have been in one of those. It's not really explained what happened to her afterwards. Just the commandment left her body and she's gone for the rest of it. I don't think there's anything said on Wikia or Twitter or any of the movies. My hope is that she did survive and she'll have a role to play in the Four Nights of the Apocalypse series, but we'll see. But this is it for her, what happens in the story. Now, let's get into what happens to her in terms of power scaling. Her power scaling is. I honestly am questioning if the Macabre had it planned, in all honesty, because it's kind of all over the place. Like, her power level itself is very low. I mean, I think it's like. It's either the fourth lowest or the. Or fourth. Like, it's somewhere between the two. I think she is stronger than Grey Ward, but I could be mistaken in terms of, if you go by her numbers. So you think she'll be one of the weaker ones, and the way and the Kaba uses her is kind of that way, where she mostly just fights and gets beaten in battles. But the thing is also that she does give her a few things that make her look more powerful. For example, she's one of the final ones to actually be taken down, which granted doesn't mean that you're the strongest, but it is, usually if you are one of the final ones taken down, you're not exactly the bottom of the barrel here, people. Like, I mean, look at look at the rest of the Ten Commandments, for God's sakes. Like, Galan is the first one to taken out. Then we have Grey War. Then we have Fajin. All these three get taken out quickly. While the rest of the think, while Melascula is taken out, I would say like the last from the point of view of the rest of the Ten Commandments being dangerous. So it's kind of weird. Like, I mean, granted, four of them always switch sides basically, or at least changed a bit for some reason. But you know what I mean. Like, we kind of had this transition thing. So Melascula is like one of the final ones to be taken out, really. So yeah, to that, so plus Melon states that she could have taken them down. So you have to question what she meant with that. Like, did she mean, oh, you could have taken down the group right now, like the way just her, Melon herself, Gopher, King, and Deanne, and Bon, as well as I'm guessing that she put Elaine and Elizabeth there. But you've picked a wrong way to fight, or if she's talking like the entire 2000 since could have been taken down by Melascula, like including Meliodas and Escanor. I doubt that because Melascula acted like, oh, I couldn't have fought Escanor and Meliodas alone, or maybe I think it might have been that, or it could also be that she wouldn't have risked going to her giant serpent form internet because, you know, she would be more like those two are extremely powerful and she would be an easier target. Like, one way she was able to like keep her heart inside her, not being hit, or her heart being taken out by bodies, the way that she was able to move it over her body, over her snake form. So yeah, they won. So even if she was down that trick, I doubt they'll be able to have Escanor and Melez will have that hard a time like destroying enough of her body to a point that Haru is going to have statistically been destroyed, hit, and killed. Now, those are the thing that we don't really know how much of a regeneration factor Melasca has. Like, we know she doesn't have a perfect regeneration factor, something like the rest of the Ten Commandments do, or all the demons have, except, the ones who are not demons, but, the rest of the demons have. But we know she has at least some significant one. Like, she's able to survive a lot, basically. So I am curious on where that goes in her power. I think she might be one of the stronger ones in my opinion, like the stronger half, but we just don't know much. Then let's go through over some of her powers. Well, she's more of a magic user, which is probably why her outside of her snake form having thing like the serpent thing and her striking at, she doesn't really fight physically. In fact, it's probably like her giant snake form is basically her overdrive form for Galant. But yeah, mostly she uses like long range or like illusions or some other followers. Like, she's a necromancer basically. So she doesn't really fight that much. Some of her spells are like the Black Cocoon, which outside the Demon King level characters like Zeldris with the Demon King power up, the Demon King himself, and Meliodas, the way he was in the thing when he was a member of the Ten Commandments. And I'm guessing Askin on the Chandra and Kusek was probably breaking out as well, but outside that, doesn't seem like that many people can break it. Then we have zombie spell, the spell that makes them stronger based on the person's wrath. There's acid snake for attack, as well as able to change the gates into whatever gate she wants or she thinks he has to make. She also has some summoning level because of she was able to summon red demons and blue demons. But I'm guessing her form is way weaker than one like Grey Ward or whatever the other thing was. So yeah. That's it for her power level. Now going on to her design. Her design is, in my opinion, one of those. It's a simple design, but it works, in my opinion. It makes her stand out from the rest. Like her serpent design is a giant serpent, but I would say her pure white color scheme with red eyes is good. Makes her stand out from some of the rest of the serpents. And also those little dots that she has over around her body. Now her human form or devil demon form, whatever you want to pick, that form is also really simple and it works kind of thing where it's like a one piece suit with a little nice little bow pink bow tie, which kind of gives her a bit more of a clash. Although she's also legs a lot. But yeah, it's also very simple. As well as her pink hair, which I think is actually set to be her charm. The fact that she has pink hair in her human form, or purple hair is my opinion. It looks more, but yeah. So it's a pretty simple but good design. Now, as for her personality is also really good, I would say. I mean, I think Nakaba was exaggerating her arrogance a bit during this volume, which, by the way, fun fact, she was ranked 28 in the second popularity poll, I believe, and she's defeated in her final battle is in the 28th volume. I wonder that has some influence on it. But yeah, her personality is like this. She's more like cold and kind of. She's more like more reserved as the commandments, but she does have a bit more of like a flair to it. Like she may be to Gallant. We are not. We are supposed to be working. We're not supposed to be taking out our time here and drinking. But she would say like participate in Gallant games or get drunk. Like she's not this oh, we have to be doing this or like over the top comedy. She's very fun. In my opinion, they something they do really well with Melascula and Galan both is that fact they have them be goofy but serious at the same time, which is probably the why they are together so much. Now as for relationships, Meliodas, she liked him when he was the leader, and when she was doing his job but was disgusted after his betrayal, and wanted to get revenge because no one betrays the Demon King. Then we have Zeldris, who she had respect for him, but she was more like kind of more on a friendly term with him. Like she talked to him more casually, as well as the fact she was kind of very happy. Like in the manga, we have like a hot panel when as with Zeldris comes to collect her. To, so yeah, they have a good friendly relationship, which does again make me wonder if he has any feelings about her. If she survived, if he has any feelings about her being uh, returning or something. I don't really know. Then we have her relationship with Estarossa, who is the most negative because they just seem to be neutral commandment members. They have no thing special to their thoughts on the matters. But we know they can't be that good friends because Estarossa was going to have killed her or tried to kill her if Bond didn't interfere. So yeah. Now as to the Demon King. Now again, that's actually something that's not addressed that much. It's just mentioned a few times that Melascula is completely loyal to him. She's kind of, I think, Gopher even says, "You are a blind follower." So I do question on what their relationship is, but it's never really addressed. Which makes me wonder if there was supposed to have been more of a deeper relationship between them. Like maybe Demon King was going to use Melascula for his own games outside of that. Like have someone he had to follow his orders before he emerged. But then that just changed to something else because if I recall, the Demon King's plan really didn't need him to do much. Like maybe kill Meliodas more times so he'll be more willing to become a commandment, but outside of that, he doesn't really do that many outside influences. Like unless if I'm forgetting him ordering Fudging around or being one of the reasons why Fraudulent was able to take control of Hendrix. One of the reasons why Hendrickson's plans or all that went down a little quicker, but that's aside from that, no real that much influence. I do wonder if that was supposed to be the case. Like you remember that scene where Zeldris had Cusack, Meliodas had Chandler, and Astrosa had Perona. Which, funny enough, Perona and Melascula do share a few design similarities, like having a more out there hair color, having a more animalistic sense, with like Melascula having the tail as, and when she kind of eats a soul, she kind of has it be more like a serpent, while Perona has a more cat-like thing, as well as the two wearing stockings, kings, and having like a one-piece suit. So yeah, kind of weird. So I do wonder if that's also supposed to have some kind of thing, but from what I know, it's nothing. But so I do wonder if that was gonna be like a kind of representing a faction, like maybe Melascula would have been originally have planned to also have been there, but like maybe like she represented a demon king, but uh, sh- she wouldn't have done a like more of a subtle way to remind that he's also as a way to get into this race or something. I don't to like keep himself in charge. But for all we know, that some kind of support is nothing like that. But yeah, now on to her enemies. Well, I already said for Meliodas, Gallant. Oh, I forgot about Gallant for some reason. Gallant and Velasco are pretty much like the best friend, are basically much like the best friends, and they get along well. They team up. To be on a very good term, like Gallant saved Melascula, which makes me wonder if maybe Gallant just is more concerned for Melascula's safety. Like there's some people who ship the two, but I do wonder Gallant's more concerned about her safety than she really needs to be. Than he really needs to be concerned for her. So yeah, but they are more or less good friends. They play together. Well, play, and they also have also like booze. So yeah, as for the enemies, Askenor, she hates him because of how arrogant he is, but she does acknowledge that he's extremely powerful. So she does have a hatred for him. As for Ban, the two hate each other because of Ban hates what she's doing to them. Like he's bringing Elaine back, and he's in love with Elaine, but that could change literally at any moment. Like she's a problem that has to be killed, but Melascula is. But if they do that, Elaine's gonna die. And I think there was even some negative effects that Elaine had on, or like on stuff like that. Well, Melascula hates Bond for destroying her hearts, as well as destroying her destroying her jaw. So they both hate each other. But yeah, also Melascula finds the predicament a bit funny, which is probably another reason why Bond hates her. So yeah, now on to my thoughts on Melascula. Now, the reason why I honestly think Melascula is the best villain is one, she's one thing Melascula doesn't get redeemed, which consider the fact like almost the entire group gets redeemed. It says a lot. The fact that, in my opinion, she's a necromancer, and I also like the necromancers. Plus, her design is really fun and very entertaining to see, obviously. And I also like how they have kind of have this whole thing with her loyalty to Simply Supreme, as well as her commandment's power, which I suddenly forgot. Like her commandment, if you lose your faith into something, your eyes get set on blaze. So I don't like how they have this character who's kind of like not only loyal to the Demon King, but if she's not loyal, she'll die, kind of. Again, I feel like it should have been addressed a bit more. Like maybe there's gonna be a moment where Melascula loses her faith into the Demon King and then gets out of Blaze to like have her command be sent back at her. I mean, it's literally confirmed that to be the case that you can have that with with Galan, so you think that would be kind of the thing, but we never have that, or like maybe she has to like never question the Demon King to a point like I must not question Demon King, I must follow him completely. He's the greatest, like to a point that she's so in denial, but they never really go into it, or they like really go into like absolute belief into a character. No, granted, Seven Six isn't one of those series that has like I absolutely trust. If I put all my hopes onto the main character, it's not one of those series at all. So I guess why that I get kind of why they didn't go with that route, but kind of disappointed they didn't go into it. But yeah, in my opinion, she's really fun as a character and really works well as the villain, in my opinion. And because there's mutual hatred between the characters. I do again wish that we get a bit more of her, but Unfortunately, we didn't. So, yeah. All I know as an inmate of hell, she's honestly, if you're wondering where she lives in hell, she actually lives in my palace, which is pretty much like the exception to every single gold devil, which is pretty much exception for every single villain. If you live in my hell, you stay where I say, and her staying is in my palace. So yeah, with that said, I hope you like this little inmates of hell discussion. I hope you tell me in the comments below what you think of it. Where do you think I should improve it? Where do you think I should, if there's things I should change? Anything you think of. So, anyways, also tell me in the comments below, what do you think of Melascula? Do you like her? Did you hate her? Do you think she's underrated, underused? Do you think there was some things dropped? Or do you think there was something the couple could have done with her? Whatever you want, just tell me in the comments below. And with that said, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to this channel for more videos in the future. And with that said, I cannot wait to see all of you mortals next time. Goodbye.